shooter and the rise of all things plastic and that fine cast mistake that happened for a while, and some of it's still sticking to stuff. It's gross.
That's what kind of turns me off a little bit about current 40k is it's all about as many models as possible, but they've got to die super quickly, so you end up with weapons that can cause ludicrous amounts of damage. Because they want a high model count.
Yep.
Yeah.
It depends. So a lot of
modern stuff I like. Oh, sorry, Bill.
Oh yeah. So the current atmosphere in 40k right now is basically like big things and combinations of big things, but it's not fun if you're not playing the big things. It's just generally not fun if you're.
I mean, like your night households and that kind of stuff.
Not really the night households. More like Bellacore, big demons, Tyranids.
You see Abaddon in like virtually every Chaos Marine list.
Yeah. Because you need Abaddon. Abaddon is like a must because you need something to be able to stand up to something like. I mean, he can't kill Bellacore, but it can hurt him.
Yeah, or like Gaz or whatever. And it's strange that coincides with miniatures that happen to cost in and around $100.
That's the characters.
Money.
Not the big stuff. The big stuff are like the 100 pound, 130 pound range, which
But even like your big single miniatures though, like your Robuto Gilliman and stuff is still like 50-60 quid, isn't it?
Yeah, that's 50 quid easily, especially with the price
which
increase.
Translates to about $110 for me.
Yeah. $110 for me too. Which is pretty insane.
Yeah, we're trying to work this out across 3 different currencies. Like, so it's 100 quid. It's considerably more for me. It's considerably less for me.
Yeah. I've also noticed weird discrepancies where once in a blue moon, we'll get stuff that's slightly cheaper after conversion. You're like, saved like $5. Weird.
Yeah, that's very weird sometimes. I don't know how they price these.
Doesn't happen often, and it's usually in buck that you don't want.
But pretty much like the value of the big stuff and what's going on is basically like the better like is shifted towards the big stuff and combinations of big stuff. But that's very artificial, and I like playing that stuff. But also, it's not fun for the other person to be against that stuff if they're not prepared. It's very one-sided. Like it is like, some games I take no casualties. It's like that shouldn't happen. Zero casualties.
Is it kind of like do we want to have a good time or do I want to have a good time at your expense?
Yeah.
Because
I find the secondary games or what used to be specialist games, there's more of an emphasis on let's have a good time.
Yeah.
And build a thematic, cinematic experience between the players.
And You Go, I Go is more common as well. Obviously, Necromunda's got that same concept.
Yeah.
You Go, I Go. I'm a massive fanboy when it comes to minimizing people's downtime and having that backwards and forwards, keeping you in the game.
Yeah, I generally feel like the alternative points games. Like the Cato is like making sounds. That alternative You Go, I Go system is way superior to like turn 1 mine, turn 2 yours.
I move all my boys. I shoot with all my boys. I fight with all my boys.
Because the environment of 40k right now is that like you have a lot of stratagems, and you chain those stratagems together on your turn or your opponent's turn, and it's like it just drags the game on for so long because there's so many stratagems now. And it's such a weird mini game, and it's just like, oh man, it's just it. I feel like
again, not to upset the 40k fan base. We love you. It's grimdark. It's very good. I assure you, collectively, we've been playing this longer than you've been alive.
Yes.
No matter how old you are.
But this is the concern segment.
Yes, the concern segment. like I kind of fell off the bandwagon for ninth. Like, I'll still pick up models if they look really cool and I want to paint them, because the newer sculpts are very beautiful. But it's when I had to buy a new codex every fucking year.
I got very quickly disenfranchised with it before I even played the game, really, because, and it was mostly because of the way that GW's model has kind of changed since I've been back in the hobby, with like really preying on the FOMO. And if you don't kind of get involved and get it immediately, you're not going to get it. Although massive kudos to GW for sticking one to the scalpers, and I hope that they do this as well with the Horus Heresy box with the buy to order for Indomitus. It was super satisfying.
The Heresy box is going to be a permanent fixture, and its price is not going to adjust.
Yes.
Perfect. So that's what they need to do, because it was super satisfying to see people basically having a cry because they couldn't shift on a box set for hundreds more than it was for. But like
those dumb bastards who bought like 1 million Dominion boxes, and like that box didn't do great to begin with, and then like the scalpers are like I have 45 Dominion boxes, who wants to buy one for $200? No one. But then like, I'm gonna wait until you're offering me it for $90.
The problem was that and why I keep getting pulled back into this is they kept releasing miniatures like this bad boy.
Yay!
Which is like single-handedly one of the sexiest miniatures I think I've ever seen in my entire life.
Ooh, I have a sexier miniature, I believe.
I will.
Opinion, sir.
In your humble opinion, you are, but in mine, you are wrong. Yeah. The new Necron stuff was just incredible, and I got super excited by them, but then I got disenfranchised by the fact that it seemed like very quickly they were like, right, well, this is everything you need to tournament. Let's play tournament. Everything about this game is kind of moving in the direction of forcing you in a tournament kind of direction. And I'm not a tournament player.
Became the be all and end all, and like net lists became a huge thing, where like you'll just see replica after replica after replica of the exact same list. And that's boring as hell. Like, I'm a fluffy guy. I assume similar. Like, I like to build lists around a concept or a story, or like something involving with my faction.
Yep.
Even if it's suboptimal, especially if it's suboptimal.
Yeah. So I specifically stopped going to tournaments. Like, I used to be really big on tournaments when I was younger, like in my early 20s, and like was really into the competitive scene. I specifically stopped that because I wanted to like relax in the hobby, but now it's kind of like I can't relax because people just want to play tournaments and stuff like that, and they want to do
just
up and take it very, and they want to
never chase the meta,
and they want to. They're. It's not their fault because GW skews them to that direction, and it's not fun for me because I don't want to have games where like I take no damage. Or there was even one game where in the local game shop someone played me with like a World Eaters list, and they took more damage trying to kill one of my big monsters than that monster would have ever done to them, which was interesting to see.
Yeah, I quite like those scenarios though. Like, I mean, I'm again trying to think about how that would play out in AT. Like, those same scenarios can happen in AT, but the chances is that you've just done something colossally wrong, and you can laugh about it at the same time.
Usually you'd be able to laugh about it, but that was the only points of damage that they were able to do to my army, which was like a cold, calculated like plan of this monster creature, its thing is to tie you in combat and make you hit it, and you take more damage because it has like acid blood, and it does literally unsavable wounds to you if it bleeds.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like
I'm behind on 9th. I think the last codex I read was the Genestealer Cult one, and then I just haven't bothered.
Yeah, the Genestealer Cult ones is cool. If
it adds flavor.
Like like a lot of 40k 9th edition now is a lot of gotchas. Like stratagems are very gotcha. It's become like almost like a
deal with crap cards.
Yeah, it's a lot of like non-disclosure stuff. Like, you know, you have to disclose your list. If your opponent asks what it does, it's what it does. But nowhere in does it have to say like, you know, disclose your gotcha stratagem link chain.
Yeah.
And again, sorry to keep harping on and bringing this back to AT, but I think there's a lot of community moderation in AT, I think, around those kind of gotcha moments to try and limit that kind of feel bad. Acastus being the obvious one. The Acastus Knight is already been restricted by GW, but the community restricts it further.
Yep.
And there's no kind of like written rule anywhere that says that you shouldn't take them, but the community discourages it.
If you do, you're a bit of a bastard.
You're a terrible person. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and I will poop in your cornflakes.
Yeah. The issue, like I love that about Titanicus, because that's how it should be done. But the problem with 9th edition, it's how the game is meant to be played. It's a fundamental core section of the game. Like you want those stratagem kill chains.
Yeah, it's kind of a bit more kind of like follow the maths, like maximize your output, all that kind of stuff. Yeah,
I mean it's great. It's great for me if you're like so inclined as like an engineering point of view like me. But it's like if you're like not, it's kind of like you just got wrecked.
This is why I've got hope for Heresy, because obviously Heresy's based on, what is it, 7th? I think it is.
7th.
Yep.
And other than the new reaction mechanics, there's not a lot changed from that 7th edition core rules.
Yeah, I was a bit disappointed in the psychic phase. I would have liked them to redo the psychic phases.
The psychic is so minimal in Heresy. Like, unless you're playing Word Bearers or Thousand Sons, you maybe have one level 1 psyker. Maybe.
I've not played it yet. It's always been one of those games which I've been super interested about, because like I've been reading the Heresy books since Horus Rising.
Oh yeah, since the first one came out, and then I'll periodically not read one because certain authors I know to avoid.
Yeah. Everyone's got one that they don't get on with, don't they? But,
just like one like, oh, James Swallow, I want to punch you.
Well, with a name like that.
Swallow this. For me, it's Mr. Nick Kime. Like, I don't get on with his, unfortunately.
He does not make Vulcan as rad as Vulcan should be.
It's just like, I think I was reading Deathfire, and like every other sentence was one of them shouting Vulcan lives, and it's like, okay, I get it. Vulcan's probably alive.
Like, this isn't foreshadowing anymore. You're literally just like, this is foreplay at this point.
But I because of the break that I took, I've been massively behind. But and this is probably criminal considering the podcast that I run. But I've literally just finished Titan Death.
So good.
Great book.
Titan Death was what inspired me to go Legio Mortis. To start Titanicus.
It makes me want to do a Solaria.
Yes.
That and Graham McNeil's Priest of Mars series. Like, since I read that, I want to do a Legio Sirius, because they're not really described, but like they're described enough that you get kind of an idea of like bronze and browns and like woad on them and stuff. And they're like a very barbaric legion, so or Legio, and that'll probably be my secondary thing to do once I'm done my Magna. And I guess they'd be loyalists. I guess
maybe. I'm super excited to get in with the Siege of Terror. Finally, I feel like I need to catch up with the Siege of Terror books, but I'm really hopeful for. This probably should have been in the previous section, but for the Horus Heresy, because it will no longer be as prohibitively expensive. And I am interested to see if that means that the community changes, because all of a sudden you'll get
don't
everybody.
Think so. The worst kept secret in the Horus Heresy community globally is recasts.
Yep.
Like, no one owns 3 Forge World Charybdis drop claws. You might have one, but you have.
Or you might have a
3.
piece of one. You might have a piece.
Yeah,
of
exactly.
They probably realised that, right, and thought, well, what's the reason? And it's because it's so expensive, so prohibitively expensive to get into.
And working with resin.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, and working with the material itself is so difficult. It's
really trash.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the molds need to be replaced periodically. I don't know how.
I mean, they don't.
Much more frequently than they do.
Yeah, it's obvious that they just don't. Like, with the amount of like unusable resin that comes through my door sometimes, I'm like.
Yeah,
that's going back and forth.
I've resculpted far too many bits and pieces of like Volkite chargers and autocannons and stuff to. I'm sorry, Forge World. When you were in your heyday, you were amazing. I sold so many Lucius and Mars pattern Warhound Titans back in the day, and I did it hand over fist every single Grand Tournament, every Games Day. You know that. I know that. But now it's just doesn't have the same quality when you're getting companies like, I don't know if you're familiar with Tortuga Bay.
Yeah.
They're a Ukrainian company that makes true scale marine bodies and Heresy.
No, I am. Yeah. No, I have heard of them.
Amazing. Like the detail level, the style of motion. Like my entire Word Bearers army is Tortuga Bay.
Yep.
I don't have a single GW model in the entire army. Yeah.
But they get it. They're not really recast though, are they? They're their own design.
Yeah.
Yes, they're their own design and proper proportions. They are. I also have like some alternate sculpts that are also not recast because I decided to go 0% GW in my Heresy army. We all have our reasons.
Yeah.
But like all my Land Raiders are custom Proteus style, including my Achilles.
Yeah.
I have a Contemptor Dreadnought that is an embiggened Rogue Trader style Dreadnought that's just brought up to modern scale. So it's got the diaper, it's got the stupid idiot shark face, and I love it. I love it to freaking pieces.
Yeah. And that's the hope for this new Horus Heresy. I hope that those Mark III boxes in the boxes, right, are actually like in the same scale as the Mark IVs. Because they did reveal that there were boxes of 20, like, dudes.
Are they different though? Do you think they're going to remake the plastics that they've already got?
The Mark VIs are not that much bigger than the Mark IVs and Mark IIIs as far as height goes. It's like an eyeball. It's the girth in the thighs. So they bulked out the thighs because Firstborn Marines have weird skinny leg syndrome. Just period. They always have.
Yeah, but the thing is, right, like, you might not be able to tell that, like, eyeball difference, but I can. Especially if they're next to each other. Especially if they're right next to each other.
From across the table at that 6 foot fabulous distance. Yeah.
Like, because you are going to have the Mark 6s, like, the Mark 6s, right, in the stock collecting.
Yeah, Mark 6 Corvus.
A big part of most people's first armies is going to be those Mark 6s. If they buy Mark 3s and put them next to each other, they're going to tell the difference if they're not the same size.
Oh, yeah.
Funnily enough, the reason I was looking around there is I bought a box of Mark 3s about, like, a month ago.
Yeah, but I mean, like, the new Mark 3s, because the ones in the promotional, like, reveal, right, look to be the same height, kind of.
They're a smidgelet shorter and a smidgelet thinner, but like nowhere near what we were worried about because the Mark 6s are not Primaris size. Fafnir Rand is just a big boy.
Yeah.
I've got an image actually we shared on our Discord, which is a comparison, including the Tortuga Bay. As well, which I'll share with you guys.
Yep.
Well, please, thank you. Yeah, we'll put that up as background material while we're all nattering about this. It's over there, or there, or there,
it's over there,
or there.
yeah.
If I've remembered to send it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we'll totally edit this out. There's no way we'll leave it in.
If I didn't imagine this in my sleep, I'm pretty sure I've seen that picture.
I'm pretty sure I've seen it too, but it's like, it's interesting. It's interesting. Like, so I'm very interested in like the price point of that, and also like whether they've like basically cooled down on
in some way.
Yeah, like cooled down on the whole like scaling up of everything, because like it's so weird to have like different size Marines in the same army, and they're meant to be all the same size, and
there's a not great lore reason on why there's like guys who are like 8.5 inches taller than everyone else. Well, it's not the best lore reason.
I mean, if it turns out that those people who are 8.5 inches taller are actually the classic noise marine with the guitar with the big ass platform feet,
that's fine. That's fine.
He's got a reason to be 8.5 inches.
Every single Primaris chapter are Emperor's Children, so fuck yeah.
Get those platforms on.
Man.
But the problem is that like it's the regular foot soldiers, the Mark 3s and the Mark 4s with the new Mark 6s that are going to be like the ones suffering a little bit if they're like a different size, because they're going to be the most common models you see on the table, and if there's a difference in size between the three of them, you're going to be able to see it. We're also what's going to happen with the Corsair's character range, because those guys are looking a bit small now.
Depending on when they were made, like the first couple of batches, it suffers from Forge World skinny boy syndrome, where like the heads are a little mushed, the thighs are a little skinnier, and you have to look for it to really notice.
Well, I think what they will do with those is that they are on some of the most amazing bases that you've ever seen, like especially if you're looking at the Primarchs, right?
Yeah.
And I think there will always be a place for them to be display pieces. What I can imagine them doing is moving to plastic, and especially like the Primarchs eventually move them to plastic, do what they did with like Guilliman, and make them a little bit kind of more
proportional,
less ostentatious, but then kind of like redo them in a suitable scale. Because if you've made the Marines that little bit bigger, then all of a sudden Sanguinius is looking a little bit short next to his buddies.
The Custodes are, I mean, like, aren't you supposed to be like way bigger than me? Why aren't I staring you in the nipples?
Aren't you a little short for a custodian?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right.
And it's so it's so odd. Like, so I have had the weird experience of like seeing an Alfarius with some of the newer Praetors that Forge World had released, and he looks about the same size.
Wow. Yeah.
Because
he's the weeniest of the Primarchs.
Yeah, he's the weeniest of the Primarchs. But that should tell you about the scaling up, because that means like Rogal Dorn has that problem. Lorgar has that problem. Any one of the weenie Primarchs has that problem.
Boy.
Yeah. So he's one of the small. He's like generally like the smallest model.
Oh yeah, if you can, he sucks the hardest at fighting. Because he's Mr. Operator. Yeah.
Compare Guilliman with Guilliman.
Yeah.
Like, you look at like the 30k Guilliman and compare him to the 40k Guilliman. Like, he's been doing some bench presses or something in the 10,000 years between. He's serious squats. Like,
exactly.
He got buff.
Yeah, exactly. So
that's how he gets all that Eldar Zussi? Is that how you do Xenos cat? Zussi? I think we're gonna call it Zussi. That's how he gets the Zussi.
Right.
I mean, like,
that's a whole different episode, right?
Yeah, that's a whole different episode. We have to talk about that.
Dragon Tooth After Dark.
Yeah. But that's another point that I feel is going to be concerning about the Horus Heresy. It's going to be like a new release cycle of like re-releasing the Primarchs again. And it's like the wait and the time. So there's going to be a bunch of people that are going to be like, oh, I don't have my thing yet. Oh.
And then all of the while, like, give me the $1.
Yeah.
This is going to be another 50 quid box set.
So it's like, it's inherently like opportunities for like predatory practices. And once they see the money, it's already been seen through COVID. Once they see the money, it's kind of like immediately the predatory things come on. And
I personally think that a lot of this scale creep could have been avoided if they had just completely re-released the Marine line without adding lore for Primaris and making new units and like hover tanks and bullshit. And they just re-released them bigger because they've done this a couple of times, at least as long as I've been playing. Like I started with lead Rogue Trader era guys, and then I got the pewter like second and early third edition guys, and then the first plastic set came out and they got color and
the second to third edition, I think when that came out, the Marines underwent that first kind of real seismic shift, didn't they?
Yeah.
I still have some of those old metal boys, and they are like
the new bolters was the big thing, wasn't it? They had different bolters.
Goblin style bolter.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, everyone was really like popping out about that, and also like
they were ripping the bolter. It wasn't just a flat hand where they were resting the bolter.
Yeah.
I give you, sir, the bolter.
Yes. Yeah. They also have
just after the alternative 70 caliber self-propelled uranium depleted round. Where they go?
Yeah. But it's also really weird because they actually did that like they did that in early 7th edition when the new Devastator kit came out, where they were like a little bit taller than the average, like the tactical Marine.
No, I distinctly remember that happening.
Yeah, and bulky.
If they hadn't said anything, if they'd have just released it and gone, what?
These are the new Marines.
These are just the new Marines.
These are the new Marines. They're big. Look how sexy they are. Anyway, shut up.
Yeah, they're just updated because they need to look better because, they look better.
The thing I'm sat on 4,500 points worth of Flesh Terrors, which are completely invalidated by the current version. So when I came back into the hobby, I was like, go and use my Flesh. Oh, wait, no, I can't. It's pointless.
Well, I haven't.
They're on the wrong size bases.
Oh, you have to do the rebasoning.
Yeah, because the 32s, they also did the 32s as well.
Yeah, I went through that process. It's not great.
Yeah,
no.
I'm not even sure.
Worst thing I've ever done.
Molly, can you confirm?
Great.
Can you double confirm? Like the tactical Marines in Horus Heresy, are they on 32s or 25 still?
They're on 32s currently.
Yeah.
So when Heresy was initially released, they were on 25s, but they went through the rebasoning as well.
Yeah. I distinctly remember that. So yeah.
Easiest way is just clip the side of your base, cut off the top, plop it on the new base, flip off God.
Yep. If you have a Dremel tool, it becomes much easier to do that.
Even easier. Yeah.
Invest in
I may have done this once or twice, he says with a crazy glint in his eye.
Very bad, yeah. But yeah, that's the weird thing. Like, Primaris, now we have issues with sizing where they're like,
Yeah, the rollout was not done well. The repulsor and all of its hover tanks looks stupid.
Well, the thing is,
sorry,
right, like,
they look stupid.
Yeah, like they look a bit derpy, but you have to admit the Primaris infantries do look good.
Look amazing. The characters
they look
amazing.
Good because that is a proper true scale work. Now they put themselves in a box.
The new Outriders make the old Vipers look like a pile of shit.
Yeah, they've put themselves in a box where the new Horus Heresy can't be that size. They cannot be that size, even though that is
everything backwards. Yeah.
So
But does it matter? But because at the end of the day, it's a different game. It's a different setting. You don't have to say, well, actually, sorry, these are just a different scale. this game is in a slightly different scale to 40k. Therefore, these models appear bigger, but they're actually smaller.
That would be the smart way of doing things, but I do not think GW has the cojones anymore just to blatantly say these are not Primaris, to clarify that. These are just updated, Mark 3s, Mark 4s, Mark 6s in a better style. That's it.
With 40k though, I mean, like all of the kind of misgivings about like the new stuff. Like I like that they took a risk and they moved the plot on. I like that they took a risk. They did something drastic. They wrote it into the fluff, and it was actually super interesting. Kind of like what they did with splitting the Imperium in half and the rebirth, the awakening of Guilliman, all that kind of stuff. Super exciting stuff.
Yeah. I was there for that. Yeah, it was like it's really exciting. It's really cool.
Something that like I have personally fought in 2 13th Black Crusade campaigns.
Yes.
There's the first one for the Eye of Terror, and then it happened again.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, the do-over.
Why did Inquisitor Moloch Zell defend the planet of Balzac in the Reznor system? Which he did.
Like
it was
hearing that Cadia had been destroyed and they chucked a bloody Blackstone Fortress at it and stuff. That was like a serious I wasn't even playing then, but I was keeping an eye. I was like, sorry, they did what now? Like they destroyed Cadia.
Like, are you on glue?
Yeah.
That push forward I did greatly respect, actually furthering the plot. I think they should keep doing that. I want to see another returned Loyalist Primarch, possibly
who do you think it's going to
be? Personally, I want Dorn. I want one-handed Dorn with like a Mega Man blaster instead of a fist. To come back and just be so upset with everything Bobby Boots is doing.
Yeah, I want him to have
conversation.
Yeah, I want him to have the Chikero like finger of death hand, but 5 of them.
With 5 of them, or maybe just a giant fuck off chainsword instead of a left hand. That's fine too.
What you mean, like Ash from Evil Dead style, like with
Oh my
chainsaw on the end
god!
of
Now
his
I
stump.
want that so bad.
Because he lost his right hand.
Boomstick.
Yeah, he lost his right hand, which is a bit like that's a bit detrimental, especially if you're righty.
Not for a Primarch.
We were chatting about this though in our local meta, and we were talking about who it would probably be. And I mean, the obvious one is Vulcan can't die.
Lion.
Yeah.
So Vulcan's
Vulcan can't
probably going to come back. Lion obviously is asleep in the rock.
On Armageddon. Yeah.
Yeah, I genuinely. I think that they're probably going to lean towards somebody like the Lion or Jagatai Khan, somebody a bit more combat-y rather than administrative, just like Guilliman.
Curveball, I wouldn't put it past them to somehow resurrect Sanguinius, based on his popularity. Based purely on his popularity.
I would.
That could be really interesting with the Imperium Nihilus being under the control of the Sons of Sanguinius and the various Blood Angel successor chapters.
I would be okay.
If Sanguinius comes back, the Black Rage goes away. Like they still have the Red Thirst, but they'll no longer have the Death Company and go into like that death trance where they think they're Sanguinius dying because he'll be back and his psychic sexiness will make everyone calm.
Yeah, it will. I think that, like that's a proper curveball, right? But I can't see that. Vulcan is the most likely one to still be alive, but salamanders aren't overly popular. Russ is another one who would obviously come back, but he's coming back at the Wolf time, so that's probably going to be, the end times. That'll be the equivalent of the end times, whatever that is for the Imperium. Will be when he comes back. I think that Lionel Johnson is probably the most likely to come back because he is a popular legion. But again, Raven Guard's not that popular compared to
super popular, and they made Korax weird now. Like he's not a Primarch, he's like this weird warp entity living umbral being. Right?
So here's the thing, right? Like going back to the Sanguinius thing, I do agree that Lionel Johnson is probably the the most likely one because he is the most popular out of the
reasons, yeah.
Out of the reasons, right? Because like White Scars, not very popular as well. It's very niche. Like look how they mutilated my boy Jagatai Khan in his new character. He doesn't look anything like him. He doesn't even have the pointy shoulder pads.
He doesn't even have a bike or a bow and arrow. What the fuck?
Yeah, like first you give us like a chapter master that has no bike. They can't take a bike. And now a Primarch that can't take a bike.
Can take a bike, but doesn't come with one.
No, he cannot take a bike. He does not have the options to take a bike, even though he invented the concept of
I thought he had rules for it that you could upgrade for his bike.
No, none at all. Even though he invented the concept of the jet bike.
Right. Here's my prediction, though, and I'm going to say that you heard it here first. This is what I think would the next big thing that will happen in 40k is that, Lionel Johnson will wake up, and then him and Gilliman will find a way of getting Sanguinius back. And what do you have there? Those three.
Empire 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Secundus.
You have Imperium Secundus.
Yeah.
With those three back in again.
Yeah.
And then that could be a way of... Because he was always supposed to be the Emperor as well, wasn't he? He was the person who would have been the obvious next choice.
Yeah.
And this is all of course assuming that they don't just go, the Emperor is an immortal, therefore kill the Emperor, rebirth him. That whole
and then
thing.
release an Emperor model that
oh my gosh.
across
hold on. Molly, you are pink. Wait, stop that. Molly, you are pink. You are pink.
Molly's turned in. I think you've gone into the Matrix, haven't you? It seems to be streams of Matrix code on where I'm looking at it.
Yeah. Oh my god, yeah, exactly.
It looks fine from my end.
Okay, it's back now. Okay, cool. It's fine now.
Hey, back from the Matrix.
There you go. That's my hot take. That's what I think will happen. I think.
Yeah,
that's a potential that I think might be a cool way of kind of doing it.
I think it would be really
we
cool.
could also see an interesting schism in the Imperium, because I would love to see the Imperium cracked in half again, but it not be the powers of chaos, it just be conflicting ideologies within the Imperium. I think that would be way more interesting. Kind of like post-Alexander the Great successor states, when it all crumbled apart and everyone's like, oh, I'm the boss. No, I'm the boss.
But also, the Emperor's a god. No, he's not a god. I met him.
Yeah, I've seen him. I've seen him, and he's like Inquisitor.
My dad.
Yeah, the Inquisitor
jerked off into a petri dish, and here I am.
Yeah, I mean, like the Inquisition can be like, oh, you're a heretic, and it's like, no, I've seen him.
Don't you know who I am?
Yeah, they did that. Like, I love that. Like, they did that to Gilliman as well. It's like, no, you cannot ascend the throne. You have no right. And I'm like, wait, what?
Like, I'm pretty sure family's allowed to visit people in the hospital.
No, it's like
the Emperor's been in the hospital for.
Like when I read that, I just went like, wait, oh, the Inquisition just did like the worst thing ever, and it's just like they just put themselves in a corner that they can't dig themselves out. That is so bad.
Walks out with a flaming sword. You can't take that. Try and stop me. Like, this is my dad's. I'm off now.
15-foot tall murder machine in super duper armor with the flaming sword. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, he like Gilliman like in the book, right? He basically just accosted them saying like, "What right do you have to stop me from taking my birthright?" It's like,
they're like,
I mean,
fine.
Yep. One caveat though, like I would like to see it if they did not bring back Sanguinius as Sanguinius. I would like to see them do something with the Sanguinor
Angel?
To like,
he could be a shadow of his former self, couldn't he?
Yeah,
he could be like this.
A corrupted Sanguinius that actually fell to the Crimson Path. That would be interesting too.
Yeah, or just an absolute shell of himself as he is kind of.
Like a broken, haggard, like his wings are tattered, but they still work, kind of Sanguinius. Yeah, that'd be really cool. aesthetically and lore-wise.
Yeah.
And Grimdark.
In my mind, I'm converting the model in my mind.
Yep. But again, like I think they're gonna do something with the Sanguine, or they have to. I mean, like, you know, it's just like it's such a like an easy MacGuffin to just say, like, you know, it's the avatar of Sanguinius, and basically, like, you know,
or like a fragment of his spirit that escaped Horus's clutches, or
although
I also want them to follow through on Imperial Saints and Legion of the Damned just being Emperor demons. I think that's a really cool concept, that the worship of the Emperor has reached such a fever pitch that the warp is responding to it. Yeah, that's just neat, right? That's like, oh yeah, that tracks with lore.
Yeah, and I like the idea that, like, you know, the Sanguinor is a response to that as well, because the other person that is almost as venerated as the Emperor is Sanguinius.
Yeah, Sanguinalia. It's Christmas.
Yeah. So it stands to say that, like, you know, oh, like, this is what the warp sees. It's the collective consciousness of everyone in the Imperium, like, basically, you know, asking for help.
Quadrillions upon quadrillion worthless souls are praying to this stuff. Then we really got off topic. That was amazing.
Yeah,
we have since we started. I think it's been
2 hours. Going on to 3, but this is all going to be in one episode. So this is going to be. I don't even know. I might splice it up into 3 episodes in 3 consecutive days.
Fair enough. Hey, content for 3 weeks.
Random Ramblings Part 1, Random Ramblings Part 2.
3 old men yell at cloud.
Well, not for 3 weeks. Maybe like for 3 days straight. Just like,
okay, just do like a bang, bang, bang. You like that? More. Leave this in.
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, like, we've had a lot of good responses on our side that people like the long episodes, man. Like, they like the.
I do.
2.5 hours. They can paint to.
Yeah, exactly.
That's exactly what I do with like your podcast before the YouTube channel came on. I would just sit and build or paint Titan and Titan related accessories while listening to Titanicus dopeness.
Yeah. I mean, that's why
listening to two people chat shit. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's why we need to turn this into like a Twitch thing or a podcast thing, because the YouTube algorithm really likes the whole like 1 hour or 30-minute thing, and it's just like, oh god, it's ridiculous, and it's just like it stunts us so much. So it's like, okay, cool, because we want to ramble, we want to get on tangents.
At home, you want to send me money so I can buy a better computer? That would be great. So like and subscribe, comment down below, send me money.
Yes.
You're good at the internet. You can find my address. That's scary.
Yep. We'll get the Patreon up, and then we shall work on that, because there's plans for the Patreon that involve me learning more and going to school more.
Yeah. Good thing you're good at learning stuff.
I'm not. I'm just very, very
persistent,
like
focused,
persistent. That's the whole. That's the whole thing about YouTube. It's just like, oh yeah, just keep hitting a wall until the wall breaks down, and then you get through, and then like something happens.
Oh yeah, it's the Wing Chun method. Just keep punching, and eventually your hands will break, or you're gonna get through the wall.
Yep. Oh yes.
But alas, are there any final words you want to mention about AT? Things that you have going on that you want to pimp, sir?
Oh, I'm always wanting to pimp stuff, like, you know. I mean, that's basically why I do this thing, right? But no, I mean, obviously, if you don't play Adeptus Titanicus, my first question would be, why not? If you do want to get involved, if any of this conversation piques your interest, then, you know, by all means, I would say check out my YouTube channel or my previous episodes of the podcast, Maximal Fire. The guys will hopefully stick up a link.
Link down below, and link somewhere around here. Is there a how to play Titanicus video on your channel?
There isn't one of those at the moment. However, I will give a shout out to our good friends at Tabletop Standard, who've got an excellent range of short how to plays. I'm not going to
brilliantly done.
I'm not going to try and replicate that myself because I think that the versions that they've done are so good.
All right, yeah,
they hit the nail on the head for sure. Yeah.
I'll put a link down. I'll put a link down below as a resource for you guys if you want to get into Titanicus and have a look at that.
Yeah, that'd be great. But we do have an episode of the podcast, which is also a video podcast around getting started in 2022, and that's got a load of advice, not just for getting into AT, but if you are looking to get into the hobby full stop. Maybe you've taken a bit of a breakaway, you're coming back to the game. And then why stop there? We do battle reports as well. We've got 2 more coming in a couple of weeks. We take quite a different. It's not live, but we do like a live format, which is a little bit different from the other AT content that's out there.
Very entertaining. I say the only thing I miss from the tabletop standard ones is the little voice clip of engine kill.
Well, we need something to kind of to happen when something dies. Normally, it's just one of us crying into our Lavalier mic.
Uncontrollably.
But the last thing, I guess, we also have a Discord community. It's not just AT. It's obviously predominantly focused on AT, but we do cover a span of other great games. It's a really good, inclusive community. Lots of cool people in there. So if even if you just want to dip your toe, come and see what it's about. Check out our Patreon. Check out our channel.
I'm a member of the Discord community. Everyone there is very wonderful. They share things that make me ashamed of my own painting skills, despite the fact that I don't suck.
Don't use that as a barrier to entry. Like I said at the beginning, right? There's a lot of talented people in the AT community, but everyone's willing to share. So if you want help, we're there to help.
So is it free to go into the Discord community, or is it something through your Patreon?
Yes. Yeah. No, so everybody can access the Discord community. However, if you are a patron of Maximal Fire, there is a separate channel that you can access, which is literally just one-on-one kind of direct conversations with ourselves. If you wanted to suggest something for the channel or anything like that. Plus, if you do back us at a £3 or £5 tier, you'll get that 10% off those Battle Bling purchases in the future. And I'm looking to work with Battle Bling as well to kind of get a few more perks. They recently released a set of Maximal Fire themed objectives, which is super cool. Yep. So do check those out. I'm trying to kind of speak to Johnny from Battle Bling to see if I can get a few of those I can give away as some patron prizes.
Bling bunker right now. I'm looking forward to the Maximal Fire and tabletop standard objective markers for myself and my housemate.
They're super cool and nice and visual as well.
Very.
I think lastly, all I want to say is thank you very much for having me, guys. It's been an absolute blast chatting to you tonight. It's although the first time I've spoken to you face to face, it sort of felt like it's we're old friends. It's been great having this opportunity to chat.
I mean, we used to all work together at some point.
Yeah. In the great quantum matrix, we have known each other and we will know each other forever, or we have all been touched by the great GW monster.
It's that GW sensibility, isn't it? We're all twitched a little bit in one direction or another. It seems. Yeah. But no, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
I mean, it's been a real pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much, you guys, for making it all the way to the end. Again, as Molly said, please, don't forget to like and subscribe, comment down below, and make sure to check out Maximal Fire. And thank you again, and have a very good night or morning wherever you are in the world. Bye bye.
Yes, guys. Thank you.
Bye.